Hey everyone, what's going on? Oisty from Good Evening Oisty here, and I'm here to give you something a little bit different. Obviously, the normal channel is normally there for Final Fantasy 14. We are very big proponents of Final Fantasy 14. We know we haven't been putting out much content recently, and it is because we just haven't had the time, unfortunately. Mr. Murphy has had his children on school holidays. I've been really busy with work. We are going to get back to the podcast. There is going to be a video coming for patch 5.08, which is the last of the mini patches that's coming out for the original expansion launch. 5.1 will be coming out probably sometime early October, maybe mid-October, depending on where the release window lies. So just for that, we're going to go and do something a little bit different. So this is Madden 20, the official game of the NFL. I'm a big American football fan, and the team I support, the Indianapolis Colts, has had a massive change over the weekend, where Andrew Luck, their starting quarterback, the most important player on the team probably, has retired. He's unfortunately, he's beat up. He's spent far too much time on the injury table. He's been dealing with ailments 2 years ago where they didn't know if he was going to come back this year. So he's kind of just left. He's retired for the season. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of him. We're going to first off make him a punter to get his overall really low down. Just if we released him as a quarterback, he would he'd immediately be snapped up. And then because he's on a massive contract, what we're going to do is we're going to take him down to 1 year, and we're literally just going to take him down to as low as humanly possible. Because then as soon as we've got him down to that, we can release him without any cap penalty. So it is just going to be a couple of moments where we do that. And the rebuild is going to be a realistic rebuild. So it's what a lot of people are terming on in YouTube as realistic rebuilds. Now, I've seen a couple. C4's done a really good one. He's up to year 10 with Jacoby Brissett. I'm going to go in a slightly different direction because I feel following the Colts have a little bit more of a direction as to what their GM, Chris Ballard, is actually willing to do. He's much more of a build through the trenches and take care of your own guys. Don't go splashing out in free agency kind of thing. And it is what C4 did a lot. There were some things I didn't agree with that he did in his rebuild. So I'm just wanting to see how I do. Now that's not to say that his is an awful rebuild. It's not. It's a great rebuild, and you should really go check it out. So that's Andrew Luck. He's down to 0 on his contract. He's a punter, so we're going to release him now. And that is Andrew Luck gone, which means that we are left with Jacoby Brissett as our starting QB. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go and have a look at some players. So Spencer Ware is our starting fullback / power back. He's going to be released, and the reason for that is he's not with the Colts at this moment. He's actually being waived via an injury settlement. And over on the defense, we're going to make a couple of changes. So Tyquan Lewis is primarily for the Colts lining up at a defensive tackle, so we're going to move him to D tackle. And also Marvell Tell III, who is our third choice strong safety here, he has primarily been running as a cornerback with the Colts during training camp. So we're going to move him down to corner. What we're then going to do is we're going to go and have a look at the schemes. So Frank Reich is a zone run West Coast scheme. Now, at the moment, the scheme is set at West Coast spread. So what we're going to do is just change that to West Coast zone run, which is exactly what his playbook is. And we're going to leave the defensive scheme as a 4-3 because that's what his playbook is. So quarterback, we want an improviser at QB, elusive backs at half running back, utility fullback, route running wide receivers, possession tight ends, and agile lineman. And for the base 4-3, a run stopper, left defensive end, speed rusher at right defensive end, run stoppers at D tackle, run stoppers at left outside linebacker, which is also commonly so like the strong side linebacker, Sam backer. Just there is Sam, Will, and Mike. Mike's the middle linebacker. I don't understand why Sam and Will when it's right and left. But basically, Darius Leonard's the run stopper over on the left, even though a lot of the time you'll see him line up on the right in actual games. Middle linebacker is field general. Right outside linebacker is a pass coverage. C4 did a really good job of developing Bobby Okereke into a pass coverage outside linebacker, so I'm going to swap him and Anthony Walker around. Cornerback, free safety, zone, and strong safety is a run support safety. So let's just go and swap Anthony Walker and Bobby Okereke around. So that's the players swapped around. So I'm just going to go through my roster and sort of see where we're at with kind of what we need. So Jacoby Brissett is going to be our starter. He is in a contract year, so it's going to be interesting to see just how far he goes. Philip Walker is our quarterback 2. I am going to be looking at bringing in another quarterback. Chad Kelly is currently on the Colts actual roster. He's probably going to be our backup in real life, so I'll probably bring him in. Running back, Marlon Mack, Naeem Hines, John Wilkins, Jonathan Williams. Definitely could use a power back there. Marlon Mack is definitely a good back to have. I prefer Naeem Hines because he's much more of a home run hitter. However, Marlon Mack is much more of a steady hand at running back. We don't have a fullback to speak of. Wide receivers, T.Y. Hilton, Devin Funchess, Chester Rogers, Paris Campbell, they're going to be kind of like our 4 main guys. Chester Rogers is in a contract year. I may look to move him on because I really want Paris Campbell to come on. And plus, in my own franchise I've done, Deion Kane. I actually got Deion Kane up to a superstar in that, so I know he can come on quite a lot. He's really good at the catching traffic as well. He's outside of Funchess and Hilton, he's our best guy catching in traffic. Tight ends, Eric Ebron is the best of our tight ends. Him and Jack Doyle are both in contract years. I believe Mo Ali Cox might be as well. Billy Brown is kind of like a developmental prospect, and Luke Rhodes is in real life a long snapper. He's obviously going to get cut in this. Ebron and Doyle both in contract years. Doyle is a better possession receiver. Ebron's more of a stretch the field kind of player. I'm probably going to look at what you can get for Jack Doyle because his best actual year, if they've got, yeah. So his best actual year was the year Jacoby Brissett started. So 80 catches, 690 yards, 4 TDs. That was actually his best year. So you'd imagine that with Jacoby Brissett there, he'd probably be able to reproduce those numbers. But Eric Ebron's much more of a dynamic tight end and available in the red zone. Left tackle, Anthony Costanzo. Left guard, Quentin Nelson. Right tackle, centre Ryan Kelly. Right guard, Mark Lewinsky, who's probably also the weakest point of the team. And at right tackle, Braden Smith. Plenty of depth at D-line, but it's not a great amount, to be perfectly honest. So at defensive end, so you've got Jabal Sheard. He's obviously on the downswing of his career, and Ben Banogu. Then you've got Carl Phillips and Jerry Green. Over on the right side, you've got Justin Houston and Kamiko Ture. Kamiko Ture is a speed rusher. Justin Houston is a much more of a power rusher, but he's still decent for his age. D tackle, you've got Danico Autry, Marcus Hunt, Tyquan Lewis, Grover Stewart, and Jihadi Ward. Marcus Hunt is probably going to be the odd man out here. He's 32. He's probably he's just signed a contract, I believe, this year, so he's probably going to be our third D tackle. Outside linebacker, Darius Leonard. Middle linebacker, Anthony Walker Jr. Outside linebacker on the right side, Bobby Okereke. Cornerbacks is interesting. Pierre Desir is our starting corner, and he's 28. He is a really good corner. You've then got Kenny Moore, who's more of a slot guy, and in my opinion, he's going to be our starting slot receiver, slot corner. Quincy Wilson is our next corner, and then Rock Ya-Sin, who's our rookie from Temple. Some of these players are going to have to play very early in terms of actually versus their ratings. So Quincy Wilson and Rock Ya-Sin are probably going to be our second and third corners after Pierre Desir. Malik Hooker is going to be the starting free safety. Clayton Gevers is our starting strong safety with Matthias Fairley there, Derek Kindred. Matthias Fairley is a weird one because he's very much a scheme fit, but he's very often injured as well in real life. The same as Clayton Gevers. Or is it Gevers that's injured and Matthias Fairley's? So yeah, they're both kind of sort of like very similar when it comes to that. Adam Vinatieri and Rigoberto Sanchez are our special teams. So we're going to get to the end of pre-season. I'm going to show you what my roster looks like then. So until then, I'm going to make some moves, play through pre-season, and I'll show you what our starting teams like week 1. So we've shipped Jack Doyle off to the soon-to-be Las Vegas Raiders. Doyle and our 3rd round pick has went to Oakland for their 1st round pick. So I need to double check to see if that's actually their 1st round pick or if it's actually somebody else's. But in terms of it, he's a tight end coming up to the final year of his deal. To be able to flip him for a 1st round pick. Okay, we've lost our 3rd round, but it means we've got 2 firsts and 2 seconds to go into the draft with. So we are in a good position. We've got 4 of the first 60 picks, 3 of the first 42, and it is Oakland's pick. So as long as Oakland are bad, we'll reap the rewards really. So our pre-season ended with us at 1-3. Not the greatest of starts in fairness to our new franchise with Jacoby Brissett as the face of that franchise. Like we've shown, Jack Doyle's been shipped out to the Raiders. Doyle and the 3rd round pick went to the Raiders for their 1st round pick. No one else really wanted any kind of changes when it came to draft picks. So Chester Rogers just got outright released in terms of that. So when it comes to the team, we did do some wheeling and dealing on the waiver wire because of Quentin Nelson's injury. So Quentin Nelson's going to be missing the first couple of games, along with Danico Autry. He's going to be missing the first couple of weeks. I did have somebody stashed on the practice squad. I was hoping to just manage on there for a couple of weeks, which was Taco Charlton. Unfortunately, he was snapped up straight away by the Bears. If Autry hadn't been injured, he would have immediately been on the 53-man roster instead of Grover Stewart. Unfortunately, we couldn't keep him. So the team's going to start with Brissett at quarterback with Chad Kelly and Philip Walker backing them up. Marlon Mack, Naeem Hines, Jordan Wilkins, and then Gus Edwards, who is a power back, so he's going to be our short yardage back. T.Y. Hilton and Devin Funchess are going to be our starting wideouts with Ryan Switzer. I grabbed him off the Pittsburgh Steelers practice squad, I believe, as our 3rd wide receiver. I've got Paris Campbell down there as the 4th, but he's actually going to be our starting slot. Costanzo and Barton. Kirst is going to be our starting left guard for the first couple of weeks until Nelson comes back. Ryan Kelly, Glowinski, Braden Smith, Eric Ebron, and Mo Ali Cox, with Michael Roberts, another waiver wire pickup. On the defense, Jabal Shade and Justin Houston will man the 2 ends, with Ben Banogu, Miko Toure, and Dwayne Smoot backing them up. Like we say, Hunt and Lewis will start D-tackle until Autry comes back, at which point it'll be Autry and Lewis. Poona Ford, was it Poona Ford? Yeah, Poona Ford, I picked up from the Seahawks practice squad, which is something that the Colts have done in the past. They have picked up guys off the Seahawks practice squad. For that, Grover Stewart is also on the roster as well. At cornerback, I normally keep 6, but because I needed 4D tackles, I need to keep Stewart. So when Autry is fit. One of the D tackles, probably Grover Stewart. In fact, I can tell you now it'll be Grover Stewart. We'll drop into the practice squad. And Tease Tabor, the cornerback from Florida, he's going to be elevated to the 53-man roster. I managed to pick him up off waiver wires. So Pierre Desir is going to be our starting corner along with Quincy Wilson. Rocky Sin is going to be our third corner. Nate Harrison and then Kenny Moore, the second, is going to be our starting slot. Malik Hooker, Yasin and Hairston are going to be our three free safeties when it comes to depth. Bobby O'Reilly at the right hand side. Anthony Walker Jr. is going to be my starting middle linebacker, even though Manti Te'o, who I picked up off free agency, he's a better overall, but he's on a 1-year deal. I think Anthony Walker can develop better. Darius Leonard obviously starting at left side linebacker, and Clayton Givers, Matthias Felly, and then Quincy Wilson are his three starting strong safeties. Special teams, Switzer is going to be returning kicks and punts. Vinteri is going to be our kickoff specialist and our kicker. Sanchez is going to be our punter, obviously, and Kelly's our long snapper. Specialists, so like we say, we've got Paris Campbell as our starting slot, Marlon Mack as our starting third down running back, Gus Edwards is our starting power back, Kenny Moore, slot corner. When we're in our rush package, it's Justin Houston, Marcus Hunt, Tyquan Lewis, and then Poona Ford, Jabal Sheard on the other side with Darius Leonard as our sub linebacker. Like we say on the practice squad, so I've got Jamal Adams, he's a power back. Henderson, who looks really weird in that photo there, he's a physical wide receiver, only 5'11 and 191 pounds, so it is a bit strange that he's a physical receiver, but he's still strong, he's still got good catch in traffic. Reese Fountain, Steve Ishmael, much more of a well-rounded wide receiver group on there. Jerry Green, EJ Speed, Sky Moore, Anthony Zaire Franklin, and Tankersley and Tease Tabor. Tabor will be brought up in ahead of Tankersley. I can show you that first. So what we'll do is we'll now skip ahead. I will be scouting and drafting as well. For those who want to look at the same drafting I'm using Reboot Christianity's Madden 20 guide, so that's really good. And I'll also be using some created 2020 and 2021 draft classes as well. So until then, I will see you at the bye. So we are at the halfway point in the season. Well, I say halfway point. We're just past our bye, and we're 1-4. It's not going well. We're bottom of the AFC South. I've just had a look at our draft positioning. At the moment, we'd have the 4th and the 8th pick of the draft, which sounds great because we'd be able to get 2 studs, which would definitely accelerate our process of rebuilding this team. But yeah, it's not going well. Looking at the stats, Jacoby Brissett, I think he's exactly what everyone was expecting. 1,300 yards, 8 TDs, 1 interception. Chad Kelly has thrown for 4 yards and got a TD in there. Rushing wise, Marlon Mack, 74 carries, 256 yards, 3.5 yards per pop. Naeem Hines, 22 carries, 75 yards, 3.5 yards per pop as well. 4 touchdowns between running backs, not great. Receiving, T.Y. Hilton, 328 yards and 2 touchdowns. Paris Campbell, 327 yards, 1 touchdown. Eric Ebron, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns. And that's kind of sort of like where we are. The rest of the tight ends have all chipped in with a touchdown as well. Blocking wise, sacks. Brain Smith's given up 4 sacks on the right tackle. Anthony Costanzo, 2 sacks. And James Hurst, in his 3 games played, he did give up 1 sack. On the defense, not great. Tackles, Darius Leonard leading the way with 35. TFLs, Justin Houston with 5. Jabal Sheard with 4. Tyquan Lewis with 4. Sacks, just Houston 2.5. Jabal Sheard 2.5. Autry 1. Marcus Hunt 1. Quincy Wilson with half a sack and an interception. He's actually only one of 2 players to have picked up an interception from us. Matthias Fairley getting the other one. No forced fumbles either. Catches allowed. Quincy Wilson has allowed 8 catches as well. So not a great season so far for the Indianapolis Colts. In terms of scouting, we've went heavily into the quarterbacks because I feel that a top end quarterback is needed. So at the moment we've got Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert, Jake Fromm, KJ Costello, Jordan Love. There is another QB on there that I have partly scouted. There, Jacob Eason. We'll bring him onto the draft board as well. Just checking against my draft categories guide. Is that something? Yeah, B plus. So Jacob Eason. So we've got 6 QBs on there. Tagovailoa, Herbert, from KJ Costello, Jordan Love, and Jacob Eason. The one that's definitely shown out to me at the moment is KJ Costello. Should be able to pick him up possibly with our first second round pick. Maybe have to move up to try and grab hold of him. But him and Jordan Love, if we don't want to go first rounders, then you've got Tua, Justin Herbert, Jake Fromm, all exceptional talents there as well. We've also, just having a look at our draft board, we've heavily scouted the edge rushers, so Chase Young, Kenny Wilkins, AJS Epinesa, Chauncey Rivers, the Mississippi State guy, is definitely standing out. We've went and had a look at the safeties as well as some outside linebackers and middle linebackers. Dylan Moses and Troy Dye, 2 people that do stand out at the middle linebacker spot. In terms of other things I'm going to be looking for, probably the right guard, but I'm waiting for combine stats to come out for that. Maybe a D tackle. There's really no outside linebackers that are pass coverage guys, so that might be something we need to patch in free agency. But apart from that, it's definitely maybe another wide receiver. We've got some really good wide receivers in this draft. Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, Henry Ruggs III. However, I don't really want to draft Henry Ruggs because he was drafted by C4 in his Colts franchise. So there are guys in there that I am interested in. However, it's just going to be a case of trying to work out where to go now. In terms of locking people up, Eric Ebron wants just $29 million for 4 years. He's probably one of our only reliable targets, so I'm going to try and sign him. Needs some work on the financial side. Anthony Costanzo wants 23 over 2. We don't have his backup yet. That may be something that we look to draft. Jabbar Sheard wants 20 million over 2 years. Run stopper Ben Banagoo would be the replacement for him. I'm gonna wait to see with him. Devin Funchess, 21 million over 3 years. I cannot do it. It means I'm gonna have to rely on drafting a wide receiver, but it's definitely something I'll probably do. Kenny Moore, 40 million over 5. Yeah, he's our slot corner. He's probably our best cornerback on the roster. Clayton Givers is our starting safety. So it's a choice between him and Fairley. Gethers is a better tackler. I'll go with Gethers. This is going to be the interesting one. Jacoby Brissett, 12 million over 3 years. It's a contract you can live with, in case he does regress, or it's a contract that you can get out of if he doesn't progress, and we do have our backup on the roster. Anyway, I'll come back at the end of the season, see how we get on, and see where we go from there. So the season is finished, and as you can see, all of our practice squad players have signed, which means we missed out on a wild card. We finished 6 and 10. At one point we were 5 and 9, and we were actually 5 and 7, and we were in a tie for division lead. We were winning on tiebreakers, but we were in a tie for a lead. Now, in terms of it, it does mean that we've got the 3rd pick because of Oakland's pick, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've actually got the 3rd and the 10th pick. Just looking, the Dolphins are probably going to take a quarterback. 49ers have Garoppolo, so they're not probably going to take a quarterback, which means that we might have a choice of Herbert, Tua, Jake Fromm, Raekwon Davis. There's plenty of players there at 3 that we can possibly take in terms of how our players did. Jacoby Brissett, 3,842 yards, 29 TDs, 3 interceptions, kept hold of the ball, didn't turn it over much, but just didn't seem to get any rhythm. Marlon Mack came on towards the end of the year, 944 yards, 4.2 yards per carry with 8 TDs, 59 yards per game because we were behind in quite a lot. Gus Edwards, 4 TDs there for our power back. Receiving, not much. T.Y. Hilton, 886 yards, 7 TDs. Switzer, 680 yards, 4. Eric Ebron, 615 for 7. I think I've got a feeling my depth chart has reset at some point. So Paris Campbell, 360 yards, not great. Darius Leonard, 106 tackles, 10 TFLs, led the team. Justin Houston, 22 tackles for a loss, 9.5 sacks. Led the leading team in sacks. Jabal Shade, 6 sacks. Marcus Hunt, 5.5. Tyrus Fairley, 4.5. Tyrus Fairley also picked off a couple of passes along with Quincy Wilson, Kenny Moore, second Anthony Walker, etc. Not the greatest season. Obviously, like I say, I think at some point my depth chart has also reset, so I'm not too sure what happened there. So what we'll do is we'll send it to the off season, and I'll come back and we'll have a look at free agency. So these are all of the players that we have the chance to re-sign. So obviously Devin Funchess is asking for 23.9 over 3 years. I'm not going to give him that because he just was disappointing. Ryan Switzer was much better in my opinion. Much more what I'm looking for in a wide receiver. Not as good as catching at as Funchess, but I think he'd be a decent complementary third wide receiver to Hilton and Paris Campbell. So 40 million I feel is a decent amount. 13.5 million for Gus Edwards, too much for my liking. Poona Ford was a really useful player. I'm going to try and give him a 2-year deal because I'm planning on trying to get rid of Marcus Hunt. I was looking. Is there anyone else that... All these guys came up from the practice squad. Just anyone? No one else really stands out, so we'll jump into the following week and we'll see who we've got actually in the free agency pool. Right guard, possibly a wide out. Let's see what's there. So Kareem Hunt is the standout, so like free agent. He was drafted while Chris Ballard was in Kansas City, so he knows about the character concerns. However, at Indianapolis, I don't think he's that kind of player that they bring in. Kendall Fuller, however, very high ceiling. Chris Ballard has often been told that he always shops for bargains. I don't think he does. He was in for Andrew Norwell before he went to Jacksonville. He was interested in Khalil Mack for the trade. He was interested in D Ford at the trade. He was interested in Le'Veon Bell. So he is willing to pay for top quality players. Kendall Fuller is that kind of player to me. I think he'd help put the defense over the top. But I think with Kenny Moore, Pierre Desir, Quincy Wilson, Rocky Sin, I feel that those types of players are already sorted. Miles Jack would definitely help the middle of that defense. Yannick Ngakoue, he would take too much away from Toure, I believe. Let's have a look. Blake Martinez is an interesting pickup. We'll give him a little bit of a low ball and see if we can get something from him. Let's have it. Anyone at right guard? Austin Blythe, who was actually a Colt. He was actually a Colt before he left us. Middle linebacker we've looked at Martinez. Kickers, Greg Zerline, Graham Gano. Did Jack Dolan make it to... No, he didn't make it to free agency. Just trying to have a look, see if there's anyone else in that top 100. Miles Jack is still standing out to me, but it's just an awful lot of money. I'm going to see what base offer puts me at. Base offer puts me at 91. No, that's all right. Yeah. Right, we'll put in the offer for Martinez, see if he signs, and then we'll move on to next week. See if there's any bargains out there in week 2. So yeah, so my offer for Martinez has been blown out the window there. Kendall Fuller's offer is still there. Tell you what, we'll see what happens if we put 4 years and 5. Yeah, it's not good enough. We're not going to be able to sign him. Sean Lee. Reggie Ragland would be an interesting one to move to back up Darius Leonard. No one really had outside linebacker there. Cornerback, Jason Verrett, young-ish. He's younger than Pierre Desir, but no, I'm not going to make any more signings, so I'll see you at the draft. So we're here in the draft. Miami Dolphins have got the first pick, which I'm guessing they might actually have in real life, so let's see who they pick. They take Tua from Alabama, 76 overall. So let's have a look to see who the 49ers take. The 49ers take Andrew Thomas, the left tackle from Georgia. So let's just... I don't think I'm going to, but let's just see what I've got. So the best package is probably the Patriots offering me 2 first rounders, this year's and next year's, as well as their second round pick this year. It's really tempting. It gives me a lot of second round picks. The Dolphins wanting to move up as well. Not going to take them. So let's just look. So the question is have the Steelers still got Ben? So Roethlisberger is still there. They may look to be bringing their QB of the future. The Bengals, the Jags, the Vikes. The only team there that have a quarterback is Buffalo. So Chase Young, Derek Brown, Justin Herbert, Jerry Jeudy. Do I want to go with Justin Herbert? Or do I want to try and wait and see if I can get Jake Fromm? KJ Costello just didn't test well. Jordan Love probably acceptable. See, to me, this is definitely a Ballard type move. To go and grab either Derek Brown or Raekwon Davis. Or Chase Young. I'm going to go Chase Young. Chase Young, the defensive end from Ohio State. 79 overall, hidden dev trait. Yeah, I'm happy with that pick. It knocks Turai out. However, I feel he's just a big pick. So let's just go through. So Derek Brown, the defense tackle, goes from Auburn. Bryce Hall, the cornerback from Virginia, goes to the Bengals. Trey Smith, the tackle from Tennessee, goes to Jacksonville. AJ Epinesa, the defensive end from Iowa, to the Broncos. That's interesting because they've now got Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, and AJ Epinesa. Dylan Moses, the middle linebacker from the Bama. That's somewhere I was thinking about going. However, just going to go and have a look to see again what's sort of like out there. Is there an early first rounder? No, there's not. So I've picked up my defensive end. On the draft board, you've got from Herbert, Costello, Love, Grant Delpit, the safety, Isaiah Simmons, the safety, Carter, the safety. There's lots of safeties there. Jerry Jeudy, CD Lamb would bring a difference to my team. I feel just looking at Jeudy, he'd be a big difference. CD Lamb would be a big help as well. Big physical guy there. T. Higgins, 6'4", big strong guy. In terms of wide receiver, I have got my eye on somebody much later on. See, this is the thing. Raekwon Davis is still there. Raekwon Davis. Is there any better D tackles on my draft board? There's not. What about middle linebackers? Kenneth Murray, Paddy Fisher. What about corner? Fancy a corner. There's corners I can get later on. Running back, Jonathan Taylor, the running back from Wisconsin. DeAndre Swift, the running back from Georgia. There's also Walker Little, the left tackle, could slide in and take over for Costanzo. However, I'm looking at Prince Tega 1 hour ago. Oh, I'm really torn here. Cisco, you're not helping. And guards anywhere. Got a centre, but I think he's too early to take. Oh, I'm really struggling with this pick. Going to take Jerry Jeudy, the other wide receiver from Bama. 78 overall, hidden dev trait. He'll be the other side of Ty and Paris Campbell. That's a obnoxious wide receiver core. Right, let's just skip ahead. So CeeDee Lamb goes to the Panthers. Delpit to the Redskins. Eagles take CJ Henderson. Giants take Justin Herbert, the quarterback from Oregon. So they've went Daniel Jones last year and Justin Herbert this year. So Raekwon Davis, that's all the way to the Titans. That's going to be interesting. Walker Little, the left tackle, goes to the Cardinals. T. Higgins, the wide receiver from Clemson, goes to the Lions. The Bucks take Chenault, the wide receiver from Colorado. Troy Dye goes to the Rams. Right, I think I need to go and check this because I think Drew Brees has retired. He has, but they signed Ryan Tannehill. Right. So I was thinking about trading up with the Chiefs, but I'm not going to. So I completely messed that up. So let's just have a look who got drafted where. So yeah, so From went to the Saints, which I thought they would. Fisher, Trey Adams, DeAndre Swift lasted to the second round. So I've now got 2 out of the next 3 picks. I am going to take a quarterback here. There's 3 on my board. There's Costello, Jordan Love, and Jacob Eason. Jacob Eason, it's a toss for Jordan Love and KJ Costello. Costello tested worse than Jordan Love, and for that reason, I'm going to go Jordan Love. 72 overall, hidden dev trait again. I'm feeling confident in this draft so far. They've taken Terrell Lewis, so I've got my quarterback, I've got a wide receiver, I've got a defensive end. So, draft board. Gonna go and have a look for a middle linebacker. Kenneth Murray. Or do I go corner? There's a couple of corners I like much later on. Free safety. Running backs, Jonathan Taylor still there, Travis Etienne still there. What about guards? Specifically right guards. Ben Bredesen. Yeah, I'm going to take Bredesen. Normal dev trade, 72 overall. Could have been worse. However, probably long term for Glowinski. Right. I'm now hoping that by the time I get to my next pick, the guy I want is still here. So, draft board. Oh, he's gone. So, all positions. So, Henry Ruggs III is still there, as is KJ Hill. The guy I was looking for has gone. Right. Tight end, gone. Running backs, all gone. Tackles, gone. Early. Don't know about either of them two. Early. Wow, that's not a great amount of people left on my draft board. So, 4th round. Jalen Mills, the defensive end from Purdue. 70 overall, normal dev trait. I can live with that. So, draft board. Only got Moses Wood left on my draft board, so we'll take him. Run stopper, 65 overall. He'll drop over onto the left outside linebacker to take over from Darius Leonard. Well, to back up Darius Leonard even. And we'll... Oh no, hold on, I need a kicker. Just remembered, needed a kicker. Didn't sign one in free agency. I'm hoping that's not his actual name. I'll... Football University, there we are. Tiny Boop Squeak Shortly. So it was by position. Trying to find which of these it should be. I'll take him and change his name. 70 overall. Right. $28, $31, 34, there we are. Isaiah Fairley. We'll take him with our last pick, 68. So let's just have a look at the draft recap. So this is the draft that we had. So in the first round, we picked up Chase Young, the 79 overall third pick speed rusher. He's going to probably rotate with Kamiko Tere. Jerry Jeudy, 78 overall, pick number 10 in the first round. He'll be the complement to T.Y. before T.Y. leaves and Paris Campbell steps up. Jordan Love, our second pick, our first second round pick, 72 overall quarterback. He'll be the man that we take from Ty. All three of those players all had hidden dev traits. Ben Bredesen, 72 overall right guard. Jaden Mills, run stopper 70. Moses Woods, who has been moved to left outside linebacker, 69 overall. He is our second worst pick. Sorry, Isaiah Fairley is our 68, our worst pick, and Bubba Baxter, the overall 70. That's in my opinion, an outstanding draft class. If that happened in real life, I think people would turn around and say Chris Ballard has hit another home run. So I'll be back now at the end of the pre-season to show you what our roster's like going into year 2. So we have gotten rid of Justin Houston. He was kind of an odd man out on that defensive end with the draft pick, the first round draft pick from Ohio State, along with Kamiko Tere. Him and the 7th round pick have went to the Giants for their 2nd round pick. I think that's a decent value there. So we've managed to get rid of Ryan Switzer. I know we signed to a big contract and it was $14 million that I didn't really have to spend, especially with Funchess there, but I signed, obviously drafted Jerry Jeudy, got T.Y., got Paris Campbell, Deion Kane still there. Also found a couple of diamonds in the rough on the waiver wire where they've got hidden dev traits, even though they went undrafted. So I've picked those couple of guys up because it's very much Ballard's kind of thing of looking through that waiver wire and finding these random players, finding people like, I'm just trying to think, Al-Qadim, Muhammad, Mike Mitchell when he came in. There are Clayton Givers, Matthias Fairley. There are players there that we do bring in. So we sent Switzer on the 6th to the Ravens for their 3rd. Decent value, does mean I'm without a 6th and a 7th, but in fairness, if I wanted to trade down, I probably could. So I'm going to do my cuts, and then I'll show you the depth chart. So this is the Indianapolis lineup that's going into the 2nd year of our rebuild. Jacoby Brissett, backed up by Jordan Love, will spend his skill point now. So he still remains at 72. He is a hidden dev trait still. So he's still got another, it's like 396 snaps. So that's probably either going to be after we've dumped the season or when at the end of the season, really. Philip Walker's return as the 3rd, Marlon Mack, Naeem Hines, Josh Adams, and then Jordan Williams. Adams is our power back. Hilton and Judy are going to form our wide receiver tandem with Paris Campbell and Bernie, one of our free agent pickups who we got off the waiver wire. He isn't amazing, but he's got that hidden dev trait. He's there to sort of like try. Basically, we don't want to stash him on the practice squad. Henderson is going to be wide receiver 5. Costanzo, Nelson, Kelly, Glowinski, and Smith. Ben Bredesen is there in case we do want to bring him in instead of Glowinski. Fairley and Fox are going to be our backup tackles. Fairley's a right tackle 68, and Elijah Fox is 61 over on the right tackle as well. Ebron, Mo Cox, and then Noah Howe is a blocking tight end. We did lose one of our tight ends to injury for like 4 or 5 weeks, so I just put him onto injured reserve because I feel that it's better to have that 3rd guy as opposed to just having to bring people in and out. On the defense, Jaden Miles, a rookie out of Purdue, is going to be our run-stopping defensive end. He's won the job over Ben Banogu. You've got Danique Audrey, Tyquan Lewis, Poona Ford, Grover Stewart. There, Jaden Miles can also fill in at D tackle if needs be. Chase Young, the outside linebacker for the defensive end from Ohio State, 79 speed rusher. He's going to be our starting defensive end. Kamiko Ture is going to back him up, and then Melvin Cox is he's a rookie out of Missouri. Brought him in from the waiver wire, and he's a hidden dev as well. Cornerbacks, Wilson and Desir is going to start. Yasin's going to be the third. Harrison 4 and Kenny Moore, who's going to be our slot guy. Hooker, Willis and Gevers. Bobby Okereke, Adams and Cabina. Then you've got Anthony Walker Jr. And Darius Leonard actually got a superstar dev trade upgrade. So he got that in, I believe it was Super Bowl week. Yeah, Superstar X Factor dev, because he got into the Pro Bowl. And he's got the reinforcement ability, so forcing completions or TFLs, don't allow yards. He's got strip specialist, secure tackler. Our first Superstar X Factor, he's also got a skill point to spend as well. So a decent season last year for the Maniac. And then Clayton Givers, Obi Melifonwu, picked him off the waiver wire last year, brought him in. He's stuck on the team. He's now the backup strong safety. Special teams, Baxter and Sanchez. Bernie is going to return kicks and punts. Specialist, Paris Campbell's going to be a slot. Marlon Mack, third down running back. Adams is our power back. Need to sort out a slot corner. Chase Young, Autry and Toure is going to be our rush package with Leonard as the sub linebacker. And on the practice squad, we've got a quarterback, halfback, hidden dev trade again, Reese Fountain, Jacobs, hidden dev trade, Burrow, the left tackle, and then some defensive depth as well. So we'll see you at the bye and see how we're getting on. So we've started the season 1-3, win over the Ravens, but tough losses in the other 3 games, and Love has just went and got another skill upgrade, which has taken him to 74. He's actually better overall than Jacoby Brissett now. At 1-3, I feel now's the time to make the switch. So Jordan Love is going to come in. Judy is at 79. We're still waiting to unlock his dev trade. He's at 294. I have an inkling that Young, his 379, so he's 121 off. However, when we did progress him up to the 80 mark, I believe it was that one, or was it the one before? One of the weeks where we did upgrade him, he actually got a upgrade slot as well, which kind of means that he's going to be a superstar. So we've got a superstar in Young, possibly a superstar in Jerry Jeudy, and possibly a superstar in Josh Love. So we'll wait and see. So week 1 of the John Love era is underway in Indianapolis. Player of the week, 21 of 25, 227 yards, 1 pass TD. Took 2 sacks, 6 carries, 27 rush yards, 2 rush TDs in a 45-13 win over the Green Bay Packers. I feel we've probably made a right move starting him there. So we'll see you at the midway point in a couple of games' time. So there we have it. Chase Young, the 3rd overall pick in the draft, is a superstar X Factor. That's what he's ended up as. He has got fearmonger, pass rushers, intimidate quarterbacks with their sheer presence, significant pressure on quarterbacks even while engaged. He's also got secure tackler and edge threat there as well. Massive improvement for Chase Young. That's going to be a massive help on the edge for the Indianapolis Colts. Jerry Jeudy, has he unlocked his yet? Oh, he's 6 downs away from unlocking his. He is going to go up to an 80 there though, so he has got an ability slot, so that means he's going to be at least a superstar. We'll find out in the next, after the next game really. So we're at the halfway mark in year 2. We are 4-4, and we are leading the division over the 3-4 Tennessee Titans. Let's just have a look. So John Love is 1,139 yards. He's played 4 games, same as Jacoby Brissett. He's ahead of him on yards and touchdowns. Completion rate slightly down. I feel that we need to get more of an air attack going. So I may need to slightly tweak the scheme here. Russian, Marlon Mack, 122 yards. carries, 400 yards. Josh Adams, 117. 3 touchdowns for Marlon Mack. Jordan Love, 2 touchdowns in that original starting game. T.Y. Hilton, 42 carries, 42 catches, 481 yards, 4 TDs. Paris Campbell, 34 catches, 427 for TD. 424 on the TD for Jerry Jeudy, 360 and 5 TDs for Marlon Mack, and 350 and 4 TDs for Eric Ebron. Over on the defense, Tyquan Lewis, 4 sacks from his defensive tackle position. Chase Young, 2.5 sacks and an interception. 7 tackles for loss. Who's leading in tackles? Oh, is that a stupid question? Pierre Desir, slightly worrying. So, let's just have a look at the roster. Jerry Jeudy is a superstar X Factor. So, we've drafted a superstar X Factor in Jerry Jeudy at wideout with double me, in-out elite, and streak specialist. We've drafted Jordan Love, who is currently a 76 overall. He's 31 downs away from finding out what he is. And we've drafted Chase Young, who is also a superstar X Factor as well. 2 superstar X Factors, as well as probably a superstar, maybe a star, in the same draft. That's knocking it out of the park. That is better than Quentin Nelson, Darius Leonard, and Braden Smith, in my opinion. Right, we're going to go and have a look at this scheme. So we're perfect when it comes to the 4-3. We've got everything we need. West Coast zone run, short passing to keep possession of the ball. That's not what our guys are doing at the moment. We need to start vertical. We need to start pushing the ball vertical. So vertical zone run, strong arm, elusive back, blocking fullback, deep threat wide receiver. We're much better here. Chooses holes for a halfback and forces downfield shots via play action. That's definitely something much better. Is vertical power run? Nah. Spread? Could be, but air raid? No. Pistol? Air raid would put up numbers, but I feel vertical zone run is where we need to be here. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the Texans game. Let's just have a look, see who we've got to negotiate here as well. So TY, so Malik Hooker, 19.3 million over 5 years. Yeah, that's a fair deal, I feel. Wants more money. Ryan Kelly, 18 million over 2 years. I'd like to try and push that to 3. So maybe just a little bit extra money there just to tie him down. So yep, he's there. Marlon Mack, 29 million over 5 years. It's a lot of money for somebody that isn't playing massively well, in my opinion. Quincy Wilson, 10 million over 3. Well, 11 million over 3. That's a no-brainer. Nick Autry, 4 million. I'm wondering if we could get him to take maybe 7.5 over 2. Better salary. It's 6 million a year. Still 6 million a year, but he's happy with the salary, but not the duration. TY, 64 million over 4 years when we've got Jerry Jeudy, Paris Campbell, a couple of hidden devs. I feel I can draft wide receivers for this and draft them well. I'm going to try and give him a 2-year at a bit of a higher price. Wants better bonus and duration. So we've got to come back to some of these. We're going to just play the week and then we'll save it. Just I need to go and do some real things. Jordan Love, let's see what he is. How amazing would it be if he's another superstar dev. We lost against the Texans. And Jordan Love is a star. He's just a star dev. That's fine. I'm happy with that. Two superstar X factors, and a star dev out of one draft. I feel is definitely something that I can live with. It's not something that I feel is a bad thing, to be fair. So we'll start upgrading these guys as well. And I'll see you at the end of the season.